Welcome to the first summary video of designing the Heragul Peregrine. I'm Jason, the creator of the Kalidasia universe. And what I'm doing here of this series of summary videos, each one's going to have a corresponding about hour-long live stream you can find over at twitch.tv/Rocker Robotics, or of course also on this YouTube channel. And I'm just doing a kind of a summary of what that entire 1 hour video was all about. And this series is going through my process of redesigning the Heragul Saber into the Heragul Peregrine and the Merlin, which are two variations of the same Corvette class warship. And this first video here is all about looking at the overall concept art process, where I'm just kind of getting a very general idea of what the Heragul Peregrine is going to look like. And it's really a multi-step evolution process. You can see here, I just start sketching out basic shapes. And I've also got a pair of warships, the Heragul Hammerhead and the Heragul Pale Fox, as references. And I've also, of course, you can see I'm also using the original Heragul Saber token as a reference as well. But I'm just going through here, trying out different shapes, and with each iteration of the initial concept design, I'm kind of adding a little bit more detail, kind of sorting out some things a little bit more, and all along in my head, I'm kind of just looking at each step and thinking about what do I like, what do I not like, and I carry over what I like to the next one, and I get rid of what I don't like, and I make little adjustments. And when I get to the end here, it's going to be kind of the final top-down view of the concept art of the Peregrine. Finally, once I got the basic ideas down, as you can see in the third and final sketch I did here, I'm going to do a much larger concept art. We're going to add some details to get the very final dimensions down. And I moved down to the bottom of the page because I had a lot of space available there. I used the bottom of the page to represent the middle of the warship, and then I just redraw the concept art I had up there and sort out some of the details. I kind of add a few new cooling vents here and there. I start numbering the elevation armor panels so I get an idea of what sits on top of what. And this is where I really take into consideration functionality, because even though this is a sci-fi universe, there are rules how things work, some of which are based in actual science, some of which of course just kind of made up magic-y technobabble stuff. But you want to have a consistent kind of functionality between your different warships. So I start kind of taking that into effect when I'm figuring out the details here, but I'm also thinking about manufacturing the final miniature. I need to, from this very beginning, start thinking and really get an idea of where are the resin fill points and where are the resin vents. This is obviously a much deeper topic, but as you get more familiar with casting resin and pewter miniatures, you got to start thinking about this so you know that when it comes time to make the mold, you don't run into a situation where you're like, oh crud, I didn't think about this, and now I got to do some serious redesigning, get more expensive 3D prints, possibly redo molds, take time, blah blah blah. So if you can think about those details now in this phase of the concept art, it's going to make things a lot better. And that comes into play here with the engines of the Peregrine. The engines of the Peregrine, just like with the Heragul Pale Fox Destroyer, those are going to be the resin fill points and vent points. So they're put where it makes sense for resin to come in, and also I put them on the wings over here because that makes sense for where air needs to get out. And I also use that process when I'm designing the little vector thrusters along the side engines. I slope them in such a way that it makes it easy for the resin to fill in while pushing the air out and preventing buildup of air bubbles and damaging the final cast that way. And now, when I've got my pretty much overall final concept art done, it's time to move on to phase 2, which will be covered in the next video, which is all about looking at some of the more interesting aspects of the warship and doing some more detailed concept art of those pieces. In particular, I'm going to be focusing a lot on the engines and probably the bottom of the warship as well, which of course you can't see here at all. So with that, that is completion of the first summary video of the first episode of designing the Peregrine, the Heragul Corvette warship. Once again, I'm Jason, the creator of the Kalidasia universe. For more information about Legends of Kalidasia and to purchase a copy of Heroes of the Heragul, which is the starter set for the game, you can actually head over to kalidasia.com. You can find the link in the show notes. So once again, thank you for watching, and have a good night.